Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Chapter 61.
Liu Bei. He's in Shu, invited by Liu Zhang. Seems friendly enough, right?
On the surface, yeah.
But it's this moment just brimming with opportunity. And his advisors, Peng Tong and Fa Zhang, they see it immediately, a clear path to grab more territory.
Very clear path.
And their suggestion is, well, it's pretty direct. Assassinate Liu Zhang during a banquet. Boom!
Yeah.
They even say, Sichuan would be taken effortlessly. Like it's just there for the taking. Imagine proposing that.
It's audacious. And what's really fascinating is Liu Bei's immediate reaction. He shuts it down, flat out. He says, particularly, look, I just got here. My reputation, my goodwill isn't solid yet. We absolutely cannot do this.
So it's about the image, the long game.
I think it's both, really. It highlights his commitment, or at least his very public commitment, to appearing righteous, building trust. That was kind of his whole brand, wasn't it? Very different from other warlords just grabbing land.
But Pang Tong and Fa Jing, they don't just drop it, do they?
Oh, no, not at all. There's a second banquet.
Uh-huh.
And they push, again, they basically tell him, Tutu, it's gone too far now. Our lord doesn't really have a choice anymore. Talk about pressure.
Wow. That's intense. Putting their own lord on the spot like that.
Definitely. And this is where things get really dicey. Wei Yan, one of Liu Bei's generals, he steps up, says he's going to perform a sword dance.
Okay. But it's not just a dance, is it?
Not even close. Pang Tong secretly gets armed soldiers ready, lining a hall. The plan is for Wei Yan to strike Liu Zhang during the dance.
It's straight out of the Feast at Holmgate playbook, isn't it? That famous near-miss assassination attempt centuries before.
Exactly. The historical parallel would have been obvious to everyone there. It's dripping with menace.
But someone spots it.
Right. Liu Zhang's general, Zhang Ren, he sees the danger, and his reaction is brilliant, really quick thinking.
What does he do?
He draws his own sword and says, Slano, basically, hey, a sword dance needs a partner. I'll dance with General Wei.
Huh. That's clever. Yeah. Turns a murder plot into, well, a very tense duet.
Precisely. It completely neutralizes the immediate threat by making it part of the entertainment. Then others jump in, Lu Feng, generals from both sides. It's suddenly a group dance, but everyone knows what's really going on.
The tension must have been unbelievable. So how does it get resolved?
This is where Liu Bei steps up, makes his big move. He draws his own swords, plural stands up, and basically yells.
Oh.
Yeah, he shouts, Vilti Popu. We're brothers enjoying a drink here, no suspicions. This isn't the feast at Hongate. Why are we playing with swords? Put them away now or you'll be executed.
Whoa. Laying down the law.
Absolutely. It stops everything cold, but it also does more. It reinforces his authority and his public commitment to those principles he mentioned earlier. He forces everyone to back down.
And Liu Zhang.
He follows suit, tells his own guards to put away their weapons too. The crisis is averted for now.
But Liu Bei doesn't just let his advisors off the hook, right?
No way. He pulls Pang Tong aside later and really lays into him. Lu Zhongbei.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to trap me in unrighteousness? Don't you ever do this again.
So this raises that big question again. Is this Liu Bei genuinely sticking to his morals, or is he just playing the long game, making sure everyone sees him as the good guy? It's so hard to tell.
It is, and that's what makes him so interesting. Was the benevolence real, or just a very, very effective strategy? Because look at the result, despite everything that just happened. Liu Zhang remains incredibly trusting.
Seriously? After all that?
Yep. His own generals keep warning him, hey, Liu Bei's guys clearly want this place. But Liu Zhang just waves them off. He says, Iba, my brother Liu Suande isn't like other people.
That is remarkable trust. Or maybe, like you said, almost willful blindness, built on Liu Bei's carefully managed image.
It paid off, didn't it? Because what happens next? News comes in, Zhang Lu is attacking Jimeng Pass.
Ah, an external threat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Liu Zhang, still trusting, maybe even grateful after the banquet incident, asks Liu Bei to lead the troops there to fend off the attack.
Which is the perfect excuse.
The perfect pretext for Liu Bei to move his army deeper into Shu, completely legitimately, under Liu Zhang's own orders.
Wow, so even though Liu Zhang's generals finally convince him to put some guards at Fushui Pass.
Right, Yang Huai and Gao Pei. But it's kind of too little, too late. Liu Bei's already at Jimeng Pass, instilling discipline, being nice to the locals.
Winning hearts and minds.
Classic Liu Bei, laying the groundwork for what comes next.
Okay, so while Liu Bei is busy polishing his halo in Shu, let's shift gears. What's happening back east, in Wu?
Ah, yes. News travels fast. Sun Quan hears about Liu Bei getting deeper and deeper into Shu.
And he sees an opportunity.
Immediately. Or rather, his advisor, Gu Yong, does. He points out Liu Bei is stretched thin, far from his base in Jingzhou.
Makes sense.
Gu Yong proposes a pretty bold plan. Send an army, cut off Liu Bei's return route, and while he's stuck, invade and take Jingzhou.
And Sun Quan's reaction? Is he hesitant, like Liu Bei?
Not at all. His reaction is instant. You guy, this is an excellent plan. Pure strategic enthusiasm. No moral hand-wringing there.
Okay, that's a stark contrast already.
Huge contrast. It really shows Sun Quan's pragmatic, maybe even ruthless, focus on seizing strategic advantage when he sees it.
But just as he's liking this plan, drama ensues.
Oh, yes. Big-time family drama. Out of nowhere, his mother, Wu Guotai, bursts out from behind a screen. And she is furious.
Really? What does she say?
She basically screams, "Yeah, whoever suggested this plan should be executed. Are you trying to get my daughter killed?"
Whoa. His daughter. Liu Bei's wife, right? Sun Shengjiang.
Exactly. His own sister is married to Liu Bei, living in Jingzhou. An attack would put her right in the line of fire. Wu Guotai is having none of it. She chews him out for prioritizing small gains over family.
That's fascinating. Family politics interfering with grand strategy.
Yeah.
How does Sun Quan react to his mother's outburst?
Publicly, he backs down immediately, dismisses his officials, seems totally chastened by his mother's anger.
But you don't really buy that he just gave up on Jingzhou, do you?
Not for a second. This just shows that balancing act, right? Filial duty, family loyalty versus political ambition. He might yield to his mother publicly.
But privately, the wheels are still turning.
Precisely. He still wants Jingzhou. He just needs a different way, a way that won't directly endanger his sister or provoke his mother quite so much.
And that's where another advisor steps in.
Right. Zhao. He comes up with a plan that's, well, it's even sneakier, more insidious, really.
Okay, what is it? No direct invasion.
An abduction. A subtle one.
Abduction. Woo.
The plan is this. Send a trusted general, Zhu Shan, with 500 soldiers disguised as merchants.
Okay.
They sail to Jingzhou on 5 boats. Their mission: deliver a secret letter to the princess, Sun Shengxiang. The letter claims her mother, Wu Guotai, is gravely ill and wants to see her daughter one last time.
Playing the sympathy card. Devious.
But that's not even the main point. The real objective, the genius, or maybe the villainy of it, is that the princess must bring Liu Bei's young son, Adou, back with her to Eastern Wu.
Adou. Liu Bei's heir. Why?
Zhao spells it out cold as ice. When that happens, Liu Bei will definitely trade Jingzhou to get Adou back.
Wow. Using a child as a hostage, basically, as leverage.
Exactly. It's emotional blackmail on a state level. Forget benevolence. This is pure, calculated ruthlessness.
And Sun Quan's reaction to this plan.
Same as before. I say, this is an excellent plan. No hesitation. The strategic goal overrides any moral discomfort he might feel. Or maybe he doesn't feel any.
So they pick Zhu Shan, someone trusted, grew up with Sun Quan's brother.
Right. Reliable, discreet. They get forged documents, hide weapons on the boats. The whole operation is set up for deception.
Okay.
Lady Sun, Liu Bei's wife, getting a secret letter. Who brings it, and what's the message?
Right, and what's fascinating is how fast the suspicion ramps up. The letter comes from Zhu Shan. He's a messenger from Eastern Wu. Now, Eastern Wu is Lady Sun's home state and a major rival to Liu Bei's faction, even though, they were sometimes allies. It's complicated. The letter says Lady Sun's mother,
Wu Guotai,
is terribly ill. She desperately wants to see her daughter, and this is crucial, her grandson, little Adou. He's 7. And Liu Bei's only legitimate heir.
Okay, the only heir part sounds important.
Hugely important. And here's the catch, the political angle. Zhu Shan immediately pushes her, says she needs to leave now. Don't tell Liu Bei's military advisor, no time, gotta go. Eastern Wu playing on her sense of duty, trying to get her, and maybe more importantly, Adou, back on their territory. Adou is basically a priceless political bargaining chip.
Okay, so Lady Sun's really stuck. Duty to her mother versus her role as Liu Bei's wife. That's a tough spot. But the secrecy feels a bit off, doesn't it? Is she genuinely torn, or maybe being played, or is she even in on it?
That's a great question. And the text, well, it leaves a little ambiguity there, which is clever. She does say she wants to tell the military advisor, so she understands her position, maybe feels some loyalty to Liu Bei. But ultimately, Zhu Shan's story about how urgent it is, it works. She's persuaded. Her decision to leave secretly with Adou, her reasoning is that No one would look after him if he remained in Jing province. Now, Jing province itself, that territory was constantly fought over, super valuable. Taking the heir out of Jing province secretly, using family duty as cover, that's a smart political move by someone.
Sounds like it.
So she gets on a ship right at the riverbank. And not just her and the boys, she has over 30 armed guards with her.
30? That's not exactly a quiet family visit.
No way. It signals something more serious. And they leave Jing province very quickly, almost like a planned extraction, not a spontaneous trip.
Okay, so she's away, ship's sailing, but word gets back to Jing province somehow. And Zhao Yun hears about it. He's one of Liu Bei's top guys, super loyal.
Zhao Yun, he's just coming back from patrol, and the text says he's greatly startled. He gets it immediately, taking Adou, the heir, especially being taken by Eastern Wu. Huge implications. He doesn't even pause, grabs just like 4 or 5 riders, and races like a whirlwind along the riverbank. He shouts at the ship, tries to get them to stop. But Zhu Shan, the messenger guy, he's got a poleaxe. He basically tells Zhao Yun no chance and orders the ship full speed ahead.
Wow.
And to make it clear, the Wu soldiers on board, they pull out their weapons, line up on deck. It's a definite back-off signal.
So it's Zhao Yun, a few guys on horseback, chasing an armed ship that's moving fast with the current. That sounds almost hopeless. Why take that kind of risk?
It is incredibly risky. And that's kind of why this whole episode becomes part of this legend, you know? Loyalty was huge back then, but this is something else. The ship's moving fast, home, sailing smoothly with the swift current. He chases for over 10 li. That's maybe 3 miles. Then he does something completely wild. Ditches the horse, grabs his spear, jumps onto a random fishing boat nearby. Tells the fishermen basically, chase that ship.
Just commandeers a fishing boat.
Yep. Him and 2 fishermen paddling furiously after this big Wu vessel. The Wu soldiers start shooting arrows at them. And Zhao Yun incredibly deflects them all with his spear. The arrows just fall into the water. Then comes the really movie moment part. He gets the fishing boat maybe 10 feet away from the big ship. Wu soldiers are jabbing down at him with their long spears. He throws his spear into the fishing boat for safekeeping, pulls out his famous sword, the King Gang sword.
The legendary one.
That's the one. Said it could cut through anything. He uses the sword to knock aside their spears and then just leaps. It's a powerful surge, and he's on the deck of the big ship. The Wu soldiers are totally stunned, startled, and knocked right over. It's just pure skill, bravery, and that absolute focus on his duty.
Unbelievable. So he's made it. He's on board, alone, basically, facing Lady Sun, her guards, and he needs to get Adou. What happens inside the cabin? The tension must be insane.
Oh, absolutely. You could cut it with that King Yang sword, like you said. Yeah. It's a real pressure cooker of conflicting loyalties. Zhao Yun goes into the cabin, finds Lady Sun holding Adou. He tries to be respectful, asks her point blank, why leave without telling the advisor? And why are you taking the young lord? Lady Sun fires back, sticking to her story. My mother is gravely ill, no time to inform, and Adou is my son. No one will look after him in Jing province. She's trying to use her status, her maternal right.
But Zhao Yun isn't just some random soldier here. He sees Adou as the future king, right? Not just her son. Does he push back?
He does, strongly. And this is where that clash between family and state duty gets really stark. He reminds her, quite powerfully, our Lord has only this one heir in his entire life. And then he plays his trump card, reminding her he was the one who rescued him from among 1 million enemy soldiers at Chanban Slope.
Bringing up Changban, that's huge.
Exactly. It's like saying, I risked everything for this child once before. I am his guardian. He basically asks, what kind of reason is it for you to take him away now? Lady Sun is absolutely furious. She calls him a mere military officer. How dare you meddle in my family's affairs? She tries to assert her authority, tells her maids to grab Adou back, but Zhao Yun just pushes them aside and physically takes Adou from her arms.
Yeah.
Snatches him.
Wow. So he actually takes the child from the mother.
He does.
Okay, so Zhao Yun has Adou, but he's still on this enemy ship, outnumbered. Zhou Shan, the guy with the poleaxe, is presumably still around. They're still sailing downriver, away from friendly territory. He might have the boy, but he's not safe yet, right? Still seems pretty desperate.
Totally. He's won the immediate struggle for Adou, but strategically, he's still trapped. The text says he feels like a lone hand cannot clap. He can protect the child, but he can't fight everyone and steer the ship back. He knows he's in deep trouble, but then he sees something downriver. Suddenly, from a creek downstream, maybe 10 or more ships appear in a line, waving flags, beating drums. He even thinks, this time I've fallen into Eastern Wu's trap.
Oh no, reinforcements for Wu. He's just gone through all that, only to be properly captured now. That's rough.
That's exactly what Zhao Yun must be thinking. Great, now I'm really done for. But wait, it's not Wu, it's Zhang Fei, Liu Bei's other top general, his sworn brother. He'd also been out on patrol, heard the news about Lady Sun leaving with Adou, and he rushed straight to the strategic point. Serum! Oil River Clipmouth, guessing correctly where they'd pass. Perfect interception.
Zhang Fei. Okay, things just got interesting again. He's not exactly known for his subtlety, is he?
Not at all. Zhang Fei, with his famous temper and ferocity, just leaps onto the main Wu ship, sword drawn. Zhu Shan, the messenger who started this whole mess, actually tries to fight him. Big mistake. Zhang Fei cuts him down with one swing, Iteron, and then, just to make a point, he picks up Zhu Shan's severed head and throws it right in front of Lady Sun. Okay, direct.
Brutal, even. Message received, I guess.
Yeah, no ambiguity there. Zhang Fei's arrival is sudden, violent, and completely decisive. The immediate threat from Zhu Shan and his men is just...
So now it's Zhang Fei and Zhao Yun together. They have Adou safe. But they're still face-to-face with Lady Sun. She must be shocked, probably furious, especially after seeing Zhu Shan killed like that.
Exactly. She's reeling. She confronts Zhang Fei, demanding, "Uncle, why are you so rude?" Calling him uncle because he's Liu Bei's sworn brother. Zhang Fei, never one to mince words, shoots back. "Sister-in-law, you disregard my elder brother and sneak off home. That is rude." He throws the accusation right back at her, framing her actions as disrespect towards Liu Bei.
A fair point from his perspective.
Definitely. Lady Sun then plays her final card. She insists again about her mother being critically ill, and then she makes a threat. "If you don't let me go back, I'd rather throw myself into the river and die."
Wow, she's threatening suicide. That puts them in an incredibly difficult position. They can't just let her drown herself.
Precisely. It's the ultimate emotional blackmail, in a way, but also maybe a genuine expression of desperation. They've got the air, but now what? It's a real moral and political tightrope. They can't harm their lord's wife.
So how do they handle that, this super delicate, potentially tragic standoff?
Well, it shows their own sense of duty has limits, or rather, complexities. Zhang Fei and Zhao Yun talk it over quickly. They conclude that forcing Lady Sun to her death would not be the way of a loyal subject. That's a key line. Their loyalty to Liu Bei includes respecting his family, even when that family member is, well, acting against his interests. It shows that intricate code of conduct. You can't just achieve the goal by any means necessary, especially when it involves dishonoring your lord's household.
So what's a compromise?
They make a really pragmatic, maybe even compassionate choice under the circumstances. Their primary mission was securing Adou, the heir. They've done that. So they decide to focus only on that. They basically tell Lady Sun, look, remember Liu Bei's kindness, you just go see your mother and come back quickly. They take Adou onto their own boat. Then they actually let Lady Sun's ships, the remaining ones, continue on their way to Wu.
They let her go. After all that.
They let her go. They kept the prize, Adou. It's a fascinating resolution. They fulfilled their core duty, protecting the heir and the future of the kingdom, but they did it without completely shattering the relationship with Liu Bei's wife, or forcing a tragedy. It's loyalty, but tempered with maybe political sense, and a respect for those complex family ties.
That whole sequence is just amazing, packed with action, bravery, tough decisions. No wonder the original text wraps this up with poems praising Zhao Yun and Zhang Fei. It feels like these moments were meant to be immortalized, right? Not just telling a story, but teaching something about virtue.
Oh, absolutely. The poems aren't just fluff. They're crucial for understanding how these figures were viewed, how these actions were framed. The one for Zhao Yun says, years ago he rescued his lord at Changban. Today he leaps onto the great river. Wu soldiers on the boat were all terrified. Zelong's bravery is unmatched in the world. See how it explicitly links this river rescue to his earlier famous deed at Changban? It builds his legend as the ultimate loyal protector. Zelong is his courtesy name, by the way.
Right, reinforcing his brand, so to speak.
Exactly. And the poem for Zhang Fei goes, by Changban Bridge his fury soared. A tiger's roar repelled Cao's army. Today, on the river, he aids his imperiled lord. In history, his name should be passed down for 10,000 years. Again, it connects his river intervention to his legendary stand at Changban Bridge. It emphasizes his consistent loyalty, his ferocity in service of Liu Bei. These poems cement their status, highlighting the key virtues, loyalty, courage, quick thinking that were so admired. These actions prove they were heroes worthy of being remembered forever.
Zhao Yun and Zhang Fei, two of Liu Bei's, top generals.
The fiercest.
Right, they've just pulled off this incredibly daring mission. got Liu Bei's baby son, Adou, back from Sun Quan's side. Just amazing skill and bravery shown there.
Huge win for them. A real feather in their cap, you could say.
Totally. The text actually says they returned jubilantly with Adou, so real celebration.
And then Kong Ming shows up. Zhuge Liang.
Exactly. Not long after, Kong Ming arrives with this big fleet to meet them. He's thrilled, obviously, to see Adou safe. They all head back together.
And Kong Ming immediately sends word to Liu Bei.
Yep, right away. Tells Liu Bei at Jiming Pass the good news. It seems like a perfect, heartwarming ending.
Ah, but only for a second, right? Because in these stories, victory is, well, it's often just the setup for the next problem.
The calm before the storm, yeah.
Lady's son, Liu Bei's wife, Sun Quan's sister, she gets back to Wu, and her report really stirs things up, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. She tells the whole story. And crucially, she mentions the death of Zhu Shan.
The guy killed by Zhao Yun and Zhang Fei during the rescue.
Exactly. And this is where Sun Quan just loses it. He's furious.
He sees it as more than just, a failed mission.
Way more. It's a massive insult. A betrayal of kinship, even though his sister is back safe. The text says he greatly raged.
What does he actually say?
He declares, now my sister has returned, and there is no kinship between us. How can I not avenge the death of Zhu Shan? He wants revenge. Immediately.
So he starts planning an attack to get Jingzhou back.
Right. He calls in all his officials, civil and military, ready to plan the invasion. He's dead set on it.
But just as he's drawing up battle plans, bang,
Yeah.
something huge happens that completely messes everything up. What's the big curveball he gets thrown?
Well, it's a fantastic example of how fast geopolitics can just flip,
Yeah.
Sun Quan's in the middle of this war council, all focused on Jingzhou, when suddenly news arrives, Cao is marching south.
Cao. Not just a small force either.
No way.
Yeah.
An immense army, 400,000 troops.
Wow. 400,000.
And he's coming for revenge, payback for the Battle of Red Cliffs.
So Sun Quan hears this.
He's greatly startled, the text says. I mean, wouldn't you be? This enormous immediate threat. It just dwarfs the whole Jingzhou plan.
So Jingzhou's off the table for now.
Completely. He has zero choice. Put the revenge on hold, focus everything, every single resource, on defending his own lands from Cao.
Man, it really makes you wonder how leaders juggle that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Pivoting from one crisis to an even bigger one.
Constant pressure.
And while Sun Quan is dealing with that immediate fire, we see a different kind of strategy unfolding, more long-term, laying foundations.
Right. And it starts with some sad news, actually. The death of Zhang Hong, his chief clerk.
Yeah, he'd gone home sick.
He had. But even on his deathbed, Zhang Hong showed incredible foresight. He left this letter for Sun Quan.
Posthumous advice, what did it say?
It urged Sun Quan to move the capital to Moling. That's modern-day Nanjing, basically, later called Jianye.
Move the capital. Why? What was the reasoning?
It's fascinating. Zhang Hong said Moling had imperial aura.
Imperial aura.
Yeah, basically the geography, the mountains and rivers were seen as being really conducive to emperorship. Good feng shui on a grand scale, you could say.
Okay.
He believed it was vital for a 10,000-year enterprise. He's thinking long term. Dynasty building.
Wow. Not just the next battle, but the next 10,000 years.
Yeah.
That's some serious strategic vision.
It really is.
So how did Sun Quan take this advice? Especially with Cao breathing down his neck.
He read the letter and apparently wept greatly. He was really moved.
He valued the advice, though.
Deeply. He told his officials, Zhang Zigang advised me to move the capital to Moling. How can I not follow? And he acted on it immediately.
So he ordered the move.
Yep. Ordered the capital moved to Jianye and started building the Stone City, a formidable fortress.
So this wasn't just symbolic, it was practical defense planning, too.
Exactly. It was laying the physical and the spiritual groundwork for the future kingdom of Wu, building resilience. It helped them survive countless problems later and eventually become one of the three kingdoms.
That's amazing. A dying advisor's wisdom literally shaping the future empire's capital.
Mm-hmm. And this kind of long-term thinking, it carries over into dealing with the immediate threat, too. Lu Meng steps up, another key advisor.
Right. Lu Meng. What's his counsel?
He focuses on defense against Cao. He says they need to build fortifications, these things called Wu at Ruktsu Mouth.
Right.
That's the choke point where Cao is likely to attack.
Seems logical. Build defenses. Did everyone agree?
You'd think so, right? But no. Some other generals were like, nah, forget that.
Really? What was their reasoning?
They wanted direct action, aggressive combat. They basically said, if we go ashore to attack, we can just run barefoot back to the boats. Why build a city? They were itching for a fight. Maybe a bit too confident.
Yeah, okay, so these guys want to charge straight in, barefoot, no less. But Lu Meng's pushing for caution, for building defenses. What's his argument against just attacking?
He lays it out really clearly. He says, and this is a great quote, "Soldiers have their strengths and weaknesses. Victory is not guaranteed.
Prudent.
If suddenly ambushed, foot and cavalry rushing, people won't even have time to reach the water. How can they get into boats?" He paints this picture of total chaos and disaster if they're caught unprepared.
That's a powerful image. Makes sense.
Sun Quan totally got it. He sided with Lu Meng's long-term vision. He even quotes a proverb, "People without distant worries must have near troubles."
Meaning, if you don't plan ahead, you're going to have problems right now.
Exactly. So he immediately assigns tens of thousands of troops to build the Ruxu fort. Day and night, get it done fast, proactive defense.
It really brings up that timeless question, doesn't it? The balance between being aggressive and being cautious, defensive. How critical is that long-term vision, even when you've got immediate danger right in front of you?
Absolutely. A core dilemma of leadership then and now.
And while Sun Quan is wrestling with all this defense, capital building, Cao Cao things are developing very differently over in Cao Cao's camp.
Yeah, big time. Back in Xushang, his power, his influence, the text uses this phrase, "Hafo, Wei Fu Di Shen," basically meaning his authority and prestige are just growing massively, exponentially.
He's really consolidating power. And then his chief clerk, Dong Zhao, makes a pretty audacious suggestion.
Extremely audacious. Dong Gozhao proposes elevating Cao Cao to Duke of Wei, and crucially granting him the 9 marks of distinction, the Juji.
Duke of Wei. Okay, that sounds important. But the 9 marks, what's the significance there?
The Juji. This is huge! Dong Zhao's argument is incredible. He basically says Cao Cao's achievements, getting rid of villains, stabilizing the Han Dynasty for like 30 years are so great they actually surpass legendary figures, even the Duke of Zhou and Lu Wang.
Wow. He's saying Cao Cao is better than the historical gold standards.
Pretty much. He's framing Cao Cao as this indispensable, once-in-a-millennium figure who deserves unprecedented honors.
And these 9 marks, they aren't just fancy gifts, are they? There's more to it.
Oh, much more. They were ancient ceremonial honors, yes, traditionally given by the emperor to amazing subjects. But, and this is the crucial part, they almost always signaled immense power, and very often they were a clear step towards usurpation.
A prelude to taking the throne itself.
Exactly. It was like a public grooming for emperorship, a way to legitimize a power grab by wrapping it in tradition and honor.
So each mark was like a signal flare, showing his rising status.
Precisely. It was a masterclass in political maneuvering, making his ambition look like a natural, almost deserved progression rather than a hostile takeover. It's the ancient equivalent of a slow-motion coup playing out through ceremony.
So these weren't just about status symbols like showing off. They were tools to project imperial power bit by bit. Can you give us some examples? What were these marks?
Sure. The text lists them. You had carriages and horses, specific types, like a golden carriage for ceremonies, a war chariot, and even specific numbers and colors of horses, like 8 yellow ones, very symbolic.
Okay, what else?
Then clothes, things like the gunmemen, which was basically a royal robe, and chishi, red slippers, stuff usually only the emperor wore.
Red slippers.
Red was a key imperial color, which leads to red doors, getting permission to paint the main doors of your house red, another imperial privilege.
Right. What else?
Wow. There were the Tiger Guards, a personal bodyguard of 300 elite soldiers, normally loyal just to the emperor.
His own private army, basically.
Effectively, yeah. And finally, things like special ceremonial bows and arrows, red ones for rituals, black ones for war, given in large numbers. Each one chipped away at the emperor's unique status.
So it's like Cao was getting all the trappings of royalty piece by piece, making it seem normal before he actually made the final move. It's all about the optics even back then.
Exactly right. Softening the ground, managing perceptions, making the inevitable seem, well, less shocking.
But not everyone was buying it, right? Not everyone was on board with this plan.
No. And this leads us to a really poignant, tragic part of the story, the cost of sticking to your guns.
Who spoke out?
Shizong Sun Yu, court attendant Sun Yu. He'd been one of Cao Cao's most brilliant and crucially loyal advisors for decades.
Longtime ally.
Absolutely, and he bravely stands up and opposes Dong Zhao's whole proposal.
What was his argument? Why did he object?
He reminded everyone that Cao Cao's original mission, his whole purpose, was to aid the Han dynasty, not replace it. Sun Yu insisted Cao Cao should keep a loyal and humble spirit. His core principle was, a gentleman loves people with virtue, this is not appropriate. He felt Cao Cao was betraying the very cause they'd fought for.
Wow. That took guts. How did Cao Cao react? He wasn't known for taking criticism well, especially about his ambition.
No, he wasn't. The text says when Cao Cao heard Sun Yu's words, his countenance changed drastically. He was enraged.
Saw it as disloyalty.
Totally. As a direct block to his plans. And Dong Zhao, seeing Cao Cao's anger, just dismisses Sun Yu, says one person's objection can't stop the will of the multitude.
So the proposal goes forward anyway.
It does. It gets submitted. And Sun Yu, seeing it happen, just despairs. He laments, I never expected to see this day.
He knew what it meant.
He did. And Cao Cao held on to that resentment deeply. He now saw Sun Yu as someone fundamentally opposed to his ultimate goals.
And this resentment boils over into something truly chilling, doesn't it? The narrative describes Cao Cao planning a campaign south to Jiangyan.
Yes, in October of that year, the 17th year of Jianhan, Cao Cao raises his army and orders Sun Yu to come with him.
But Sun Yu suspects something.
Sun Yu was incredibly perceptive. He knew Cao Cao intended to get rid of him on this trip, so he feigned illness and stayed behind in a place called Shaochen.
Trying to avoid the inevitable.
Crying. But then came the message. One of the most famous and brutal moments in the whole epic.
The food box.
The food box. Cao Cao sends Sun Yu a box, personally sealed by Cao Cao himself. Sun Yu opens it. It's completely empty.
Empty. Wow.
No food, no note, nothing. Just emptiness. Imagine opening that. The dawning horror.
What's the message there? Your service is over. Your life is worthless. There's no place for you.
All of the above, probably. It's a silent, devastating message. Your time is up. Your contributions mean nothing now. There's literally nothing left for you here.
That's just gut-wrenching. A silent execution order almost.
It really is. And Sun Yu understood it perfectly. The text says he then took poison and died. He was 50 years old.
Such a tragic end for someone so brilliant and for so long so loyal.
Absolutely. And later generations wrote poems about it. One poignant one basically says his talent was famous, but it's pitiful he stumbled in the halls of power.
Yeah.
It says people shouldn't compare him to Zhang Liang, another famous advisor from history, because Sun Yu, at death's door, felt he couldn't face the Han emperor he'd tried to serve. It speaks to that awful conflict, loyalty to a man versus loyalty to an ideal.
And he paid the ultimate price for choosing the ideal.
He did. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? What's the real cost of principle when it runs headlong into overwhelming power?
It's just timeless, that tension. And it shows how ambition can fracture even the strongest bonds.
Power corrupts, as they say. It can make leaders silence even their most valuable users if that advice challenges their ultimate goal.
Did Cao Cao show any remorse?
Well, the text says when Cao Cao heard Sun Yu was dead, he expressed regret, ordered a lavish burial, gave him a fancy posthumous title, Jing Hao, Reverend Marquis.
A bit late for that, maybe. A hollow gesture.
Perhaps. Cao Cao, probably the most powerful warlord at the time, right? He rocks up to Ruxu with this absolutely massive army. He sends his general Cao Hong ahead first. 30,000 elite cavalry, iron-armored, the best of the best to scout the riverside. But Cao Hong comes back and says, look, there are flags everywhere, countless flags, but I can't actually pin down where their main force is. That must have been unsettling for Cao Cao.
Yeah, that initial report. It's crucial because even though Cao Cao has overwhelming numbers, he doesn't just assume anything. He's not complacent. He trusts his general, sure, but he's a strategist. He knows he needs to see it himself, get a feel for the situation, and shows that caution even from a position of strength. That's smart leadership.
Right. And that feeling, that unease, it pushes him to take personal command. So Cao Cao leads his main forces right to Ruxu Mouth, sets up camp. Then he takes, 100 guys, maybe more, personally goes up this hill to get a look. And what he sees, wow, it must have been quite a sight. This incredibly well-organized naval fleet, the ships are in perfect formation, this Dewey Woo thing you mentioned. It just screams discipline, flags in 5 bright colors, weapons gleaming. And right in the middle, big ship under this striking blue silk umbrella, there's Sun Quan, just sitting there, totally calm, surrounded by his official. He owns the place.
And that's not just good planning. It's a psychological power play.
Yeah.
Sun Quan gets it. He knows that showing off this perfect order, this strength, it can mess with the enemy's head before a single arrow flies. It plants doubt, maybe even respect. It's signaling, pure and simple.
And then Zhao says it, that legendary line. He's looking at this whole setup, points his whip and says, to have sons, one should have them like Sun Zongmu. As for Lu Jingsheng's sons, Liu Biao's sons, they are like pigs and dogs. I mean, that's just brutal. But what do you think that tells us, getting praise like that from your enemy?
Well, it's layered, isn't it? First, it's genuine recognition. Cao Cao, a military genius himself, sees Sun Quan's talent, the organization, the leadership, the sheer presence. He knows this guy is the real deal, but he's also, dismissing other rivals at the same time, just trashing Liu Biao's sons. It highlights how Cao Cao assesses people ruthlessly, but accurately based on capability. So yeah, it establishes Sun Quan's importance right from the start, not just for us reading it, but probably in Cao Cao's own mind too.
That really does reveal a lot about how Cao Cao thinks. But that moment of admiration, it gets shattered pretty fast. Suddenly, this huge noise erupts. The southern boats just charge forward all together, and at the same time, bam! Another force comes rushing out of Rixu docks, hitting Cao Cao's soldiers on land. His troops just fall back, totally chaotic. It's a mess, a perfectly timed, two-pronged attack.
Right, and that coordination is impressive. It shows Sun Quan wasn't just sitting there looking pretty. He anticipated Cao Cao's move, his observation post. It's a combined arms tactic, hitting from the river and the land simultaneously. Creates instant chaos, forces that retreat. You didn't see Cao Cao's army run very often.
And then a cavalry force, 1,000 strong, gallops up towards the hill where Cao Cao is. And leading them, this figure with emerald eyes and a purple beard, that famous description, it's Sun Quan, leading the charge himself, going right for Cao Cao. Cao Cao is, understandably, freaking out a bit. He turns his horse quick, but two of Wu's top generals, Han Dang and Zhu Tai, are right on him. Luckily, from behind Cao Cao, Zhu Chu charges out, blade flashing, takes on both generals, buys Cao Cao time to escape back to camp. Zhu Chu apparently fights them for like 30 rounds before heading back. Close call. And it really shows Sun Quan leading from the front, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and that's a critical point. Sun Quan wasn't just some armchair general. He was out there risking his neck, inspiring his troops with his own courage. That kind of personal involvement, especially in a surprise attack like that, it can just wreck an opponent's confidence and build fierce loyalty in your own ranks. It really personalizes the stakes.
So back in camp, Cao Cao rewards Zhu Chu, big time, for saving him. But he absolutely lays into his other generals, yelling like, "Retreating kills morale, do that again and heads will roll." He clearly values bravery, but man, he sounds furious. And the day wasn't even over yet. More chaos was coming that night.
Yeah, that reaction shows Cao Cao's leadership style perfectly. Ruthless, demanding, zero tolerance for anything seen as weakness. But he also knows how to reward bravery. You can almost feel his conflicting emotions, grudging respect for Sun Quan's skill, but absolute rage that his own elite troops were pushed back. He expects victory, always.
And sure enough, later that night, the second watch, so like 1 to 3 a.m. maybe, a massive shout goes up outside Cao Cao's camp. He jumps on his horse, looks out, and sees fires erupting everywhere. Wu soldiers are raiding his main camp. Successfully, the fighting goes on until dawn, and Cao Cao's army is forced to pull back like 25 kilometers, before they can set up a new camp. That's a pretty big setback.
It really is. And that sustained night attack, it shows Wu's relentless pressure. They likely had good intelligence, knew Cao Cao's forces were maybe a bit shaken from the day. They didn't let him regroup, deny the enemy rest, keep chipping away at morale, keep them off balance. It's classic military thinking.
So Cao Cao is feeling, well, pretty dejected. He's trying to find some comfort reading military strategy books, interestingly. And his advisor, Cheng Yu, comes up to him, gives him some pretty blunt advice. He said something like, "Chancellor, you know military strategy better than anyone, so how come you forgot speed is paramount in war?"
Ouch.
Right. He says, "You started this campaign, but then you delayed too long. You gave Sun Quan time to fortify Ruxu Mouth, make it a stronghold. Now it's tough to attack. Why not just pull back to Juchang for now, rethink things?" And Cao Cao just sits there, doesn't say a word.
That advice from Cheng Yu is spot on, strategically. It hits the nail on the head. Cao Cao's big mistake, underestimating Sun Quan's prep time, delaying his own push. That principle, speed is paramount. Bingyi Shinzu, it's timeless. Seize the initiative or lose it. Cao Cao's silence. Yeah, that's telling. He probably knows Cheng Yu's right, deep down. But admitting it, Maybe pride gets in the way.
So Qingyu leaves. Cao Cao kind of rests his head on his desk, drifts off, and then he has this incredibly intense dream. He hears the sound like a massive tide, like thousands of horses galloping. He looks up, sees a red sun rising from the river, super bright, dazzling. Then he looks up higher, and there are two suns in the sky shining together. Weird, right?
Very weird.
And significant. Then the red sun from the river suddenly flies up and slams into a mountain right in front of his camp. With this sound like thunder, he jolts awake. Just a dream, but wow, what could that possibly mean?
Well, in that culture, dreams were huge, omens, messages. The sun usually represents the emperor, right? The supreme power. So two suns. That immediately suggests rival powers. Two contenders for the ultimate authority. Maybe Cao Cao and there's someone else. And that red sun rising from the river Sun Quan's territory, then flying up and crashing into the mountain near Cao Cao's camp with thunder. That's a massive, unmistakable omen. It screams profound change. Maybe the rise of a new power, a new imperial destiny? Possibly not Cao Cao's. It's like the cosmos itself is weighing in on his ambitions.
That is a heavy dream to wake up with. So the very next day, around noon, Cao Cao's still mulling over this dream. He orders his horse, takes maybe 50 cavalry, and rides straight out of camp to the exact mountain he saw in his dream where the sun fell. And guess who's just standing there? Totally calm.
Let me guess.
Sun Quan. Decked out in golden helmet, golden armor, like he knew Cao Cao was coming, or maybe it's just incredible timing.
Or maybe Sun Quan did know. Or perhaps he just strategically placed himself there, knowing it was a good vantage point. Either way, his presence there calms as anything. Right on the spot from Cao Cao's prophetic dream. That's a powerful psychological move. It just amplifies the impact of that omen.
Totally. So Sun Quan sees Cao Cao coming, doesn't even flinch. He just sits on his horse on the mountain, points his whip at Cao Cao and says, basically, Chancellor, you control the Central Plains. You've got all the power and wealth. Why are you so greedy? Why invade my lands, Jianyan? And Cao Cao shoots back, the official line, you're disrespecting the emperor. I'm here under imperial orders to punish you.
In this face-to-face, it's verbal combat before the real combat. Sun Quan's calm challenge, calling Cao Cao greedy, directly questions his motives, his legitimacy. He's not just defending land, he's fighting the narrative war, trying to paint Cao Cao as the aggressor, not the righteous punisher.
But Sun Quan doesn't stop there. He laughs, says, seriously, isn't that shameful? Everyone knows you control the emperor to command the feudal lords. He says, I'm not disrespecting the Han dynasty. I'm trying to punish you to fix the state. Wow, that is incredibly bold, saying that directly to Cao Cao's face.
Incredibly bold is an understatement. He uses that specific phrase, Xietian's Ingling Zuhu, control the emperor to command the lords. That wasn't just a political jab. In a society obsessed with legitimacy and the emperor's mandate, that accusation struck right at the heart of Cao Cao's authority. It's a massive gamble, basically calling him a usurper to his face. It's designed to rattle him, seize the moral high ground.
And it works. Cao Cao is furious, orders his generals, charge, get him. But just as they start moving, boom, a drum sounds. Two forces pop out from behind the mountain, Han Dang and Zhu Tai on the right, Chen Wu and Pan Zhang on the left, leading 3,000 archers.
An ambush.
Exactly. Arrows start raining down. Cao Cao has to beat a hasty retreat again. His generals try to pursue, but halfway back, guess who shows up again? Su Chu and the Tire Guards intercepts the pursuers, saves Cao Cao's skin once more. The Wu soldiers just head back to Ruxu, playing victory music.
It's brilliant, really. Sun Quan uses the verbal sparring as a setup, a distraction, then springs the trap, the coordinated attack, the key generals, the archers. It shows Wu is consistently prepared, tactically sound. It proves that point-again warfare isn't just about swords and numbers. It's about psychology, timing, words. Sun Quan's mastering all of it here.
So Cao Cao gets back to his camp, and he's clearly doing some serious thinking. He finally admits it, at least to himself. Sun Quan is no ordinary person. And he connects the dots. That red sun dream, he now thinks it means Sun Quan will surely become emperor in the long run. This actually makes him want to retreat, but he's worried about being laughed at by Wu. He's stuck, right? Advance or retreat? Pride versus pragmatism.
That internal conflict is so relatable for any leader. He sees the writing on the wall, maybe literally in his dream. He recognizes Sun Quan's potential, this almost prophetic destiny. That's a huge strategic concession, even if it's only in his head at this point. But the fear of ridicule, of losing face, that's powerful too. It often prevents leaders from making the smart, pragmatic choice.
So for over a month, they're just stuck there, facing off, fighting skirmishes, nobody really gaining the upper hand, a real stalemate. Then it hits January. Spring rains start, and they don't stop. The rivers swell, the ground turns to mud. Cao soldiers, mostly northerners, are suffering badly in the wet and cold. He's getting seriously worried. One day, he's in his tent talking strategy with his advisors. Some are saying retreat, others say hold out. And then, right in the middle of this debate, a messenger arrives, an envoy from Eastern Wu, carrying a letter from Sun Quan.
The weather turning like that, it's a game changer. It completely favors Wu's naval strength and makes life miserable for Cao Cao's land-based army. Logistics, environment, they can cripple even the mightiest force. It creates this perfect moment of vulnerability for Cao Cao, right when he's already wrestling with doubt. The timing of that letter couldn't be better for Sun Quan.
So Cao Cao opens the letter, and it reads something like this. Hey, we're both technically ministers of the Han Dynasty, but Chancellor, you're not trying to help the nation or bring peace. You're just waging war recklessly, making people suffer. Is that what a good guy does?
Starting with that moral angle, positioning himself as the reasonable one. Smart.
Then it gets tactical. The spring waters are rising now. You should probably leave. Quickly. If not, you might face another disaster. Like, remember Red Cliffs?
Bring up Red Cliffs. That's a low blow, but effective. Twisting the knife in Cao Cao's biggest defeat.
And then on the back of the letter, just 2 lines. Chilling. If you don't die, I cannot rest.
Wow. That letter is just a masterclass. It is on every level. The moral argument, painting Cao Cao as the bad guy, the practical, tactical warning about the floods and Wu's advantage, the psychological jab reminding him of his worst failure at Red Cliffs. But that postscript, if you don't die, I cannot rest. That takes it to another level. It's not just a state threatening another state. It's personal. It's defiant. It's Sun Quan saying, this is between us, and only one of us can be left standing. It forces Cao Cao to see him not just as a rebel, but as a true personal rival.
So how does Cao Cao react to this incredibly bold, multi-layered message? He finished his reading and bursts out laughing. He declares, Sun Zongmu does not deceive me, gives the envoy a big reward, and immediately issues orders for the whole army to retreat. He leaves a general to guard Wan City, but he takes the main force straight back north to Zuchang and Sun Quan. He pulls his forces back to Maling too.
That laughter, it's not amusement, is it? It's recognition. It's respect, maybe grudging, but respect for Sun Quan's sheer audacity and intelligence. It's Cao Cao's way of saving face. He's not retreating because he's scared, oh no. He's retreating because Sun Quan made a good point. It allows him to acknowledge the strategic reality of the weather, the stalemate, the psychological pressure, without admitting outright defeat. It's actually a pretty clever way to handle it.
But Sun Quan, true to form, doesn't just sit back and relax. The moment Cao Cao is heading north, he gathers his generals. He says, okay, Cao Cao's gone north, but Liu Bei, he's still stuck way over at Jim Pass. He hasn't come back to Jingzhou yet. Why don't we use these same troops, fresh off beating Cao Cao, to go grab Jingzhou? But his advisor, Zhang Zhao, steps in with a plan. Hold on, he says. Don't send troops just yet. I've got a scheme. A scheme that will make sure Liu Bei can never come back to Jingzhou. So Cao Cao's army heads north, but Sun Quan's ambition immediately pivots south. The game never stops.